mvura yekumwa patepi iri kubuda yakasviba ndikunyepfa.
After a day's work, many Zimbabweans gather around in different households to heed the 8 o'clock news. On this particular day, the mayor of Harare, Councillor Bernard Manyenyeni, made shocking remarks.
Our claims that the water is chemically safe to drink will not hold if the residents cannot stand the mere sight of frothing or foaming colored water. It is therefore fair to share with you that while we are set that we are doing the best to fix the quality issues, we do apologize and request our consumers to exercise caution until such time as total quality is assured.
Exercise caution? How then does one exercise caution on drinking water?
The statements by the mayor of the city of Harare, Councillor Bernard Manyenyeni, that people have to exercise caution when drinking water is actually shocking, and there is need to unpack the statement, to go to the ground and look at the situation, to say really what are the contributing factors to the challenges related to the quality of water that has raised eyebrows for majority of residents in the city of Harare.
Does one abstain from drinking the water? Impossible. What exactly has led the mayor of Harare to make such a bold and thought-provoking statement?
I think that they are aware, but I think that they don't care that this is the kind of water that's coming to our homes. Not everybody can have a bore, not everybody can buy clean water.
The city of Harare is built within Upper Manyame catchment basin. This simply means that where streams start is where the city is sited. In other words, the streams that feed into Lake Chivero start exactly where Harare is sited. We will talk about Lake Chivero later on. Upstream of Marimba River, we find Monaville Flay, which has been identified by the Ministry of Environmental, Water and Climate as a Ramsar site. A Ramsar site is a name given after the UN convention that was held on the 2nd of February 1971 in Iran, which obliges governments to protect and preserve wetlands for the purposes of water provision.
We are in November and we have just received a few millimeters of rainfall, but here on the pond area there's a bit of water now that's accumulating, and we already have a variety of grasses that are coming up and growing. Here we've got about 136 different grass species and sedges that I'm holding in my hand, and as the water sinks into the ground, it's actually purified and cleaned. In the underground, the water is actually stored and slowly released into the streams, and this is actually beneficial during droughts or the dry season. So wetlands act as a sponge, releasing the water slowly. It goes to the stream before it goes to Lake Chivero.
The Ramsar Convention is an international treaty that provides a framework for the conservation of wetlands and their resources.
On the surface of the water, we can see many creatures and insects, and that's an indication of a healthy wetland ecosystem.
Indeed, the quality of water upstream is clean and clear, raw water. Yet still the question remains, why are we supposed to use it with caution when it's now at the tap? What then happens to such innocent looking water? Going downstream, we find a vast piece of land that is actually under cultivation, yet it's a wetland. One of the many abused wetlands that are supposed to be preserved for purposes of water provision. Further downstream at Rugari, Urban agriculture seems to be the order of the day as a main activity, which is inevitably accompanied by fertilizers and many a times pesticides.
Fertilizer tinotenga tega kazhinji kachona, dzimwe nguva tinoona kupiwo kana pauya vemotikari yeSitco yeyi, kana yauya ikakwanisawo kutinyorawo mazita edu tinokwanisawo kupiwawo kana ingave mbeu kana fertilizer.
Again, erection of buildings on wetlands has become a normal sight in Harare, contributing to water pollution.
We seem to be battling to deal with other areas around the water and environment. One being the preservation of wetlands, which are among the main sources of quality water, the preservation of water sources for future generations. We seem to be battling to assert authority on wetlands. Almost every month, there's an aspect of the city life that relates to wetlands that is tampered with, particularly illegal developments. We need to strengthen our enforcement around wetlands. The city is not growing fast enough in terms of area, in terms of land. So the wetlands which have been preserved over decades are now targeted by those people who wish to develop. And we have to move a gear up. At yesterday's full council meeting, we've agreed we must engage the environmental agency at highest levels so that the wetland story gets the authority from council, the authority from the environmental agency, the power to enforce, to control development in areas that are deemed to be wetlands, in areas that require protection.
Such is the case for the construction of a filling station in Kambuzuma. The condition of raw water continues to deteriorate as we go downstream to yet another major culprit, sewage. The climax of the whole water quality story is then shown at the Krobra Sewer Treatment Plant.
Water is life does not make sense for Harare water. It does not make sense at all. There is no life in Harare water, but rather there is destruction of life.
We probably have the most polluted water source in the country when you compare the cities, because we pollute our catchment. Then the water comes into our water source, and from there we extract, treat, and serve our people. So we use 7 chemicals. There are local authorities here, which in this country, which can serve their populations by as few as 2 chemicals. We are on 7. That really impacts on our costs of supplying Hararians with potable water.
Water treatment chemicals, we normally use 9 chemicals, and they are namely polyaluminium chloride, then granular aluminium sulfate, but this one is a complementary to liquid aluminium sulfate. We also use activated carbon, sulfuric acid, anhydrous ammonia, gaseous chlorine, hydrated lime, HTH granules, then we have got sodium silicate, that is the 9th one. Because of the quality of our water, which is normally polluted by industries, the cost of for chemicals is very, very high. The minimum that we normally go at a suppressed level is about 35 million, 118,475 This one is a suppressed one because of cash flow problems.
What is happening is City of Harare is saying, I deliberately pollute the water, and you, the residents, you carry my burden, you clean my mess. So this, whether you're in Headcliff, whether you're in Highfield, Budiri Mfakose, you have to carry the burden.
The cost of producing water currently is 70 cents per cubic meter. Now we are charging 25 cents per cubic meter for all high density suburbs, and the low density suburbs we are charging 40 cents per cubic, which qualifies that the city is already subsidizing water, whereas it doesn't have the cash flow to do that.
As Marimba River feeds into Lake Chivero, it's dirty raw water mixed with dirty raw water from Manyame River and Mukuvisi River. A catastrophe. It is at Lake Chivero where water is abstracted and treated at Morton Jeffrey for distribution to suburbs.
Izo dzedu dzatobata idzi muchiwevu dzinobva kunayo idzi idambudziko adziri kusangana naro seweza munoona idzi dzine maronda idzi dziri kukonzerwa nekuti mvura yedu pakutanga kunaya kwayo inosangana mvura dzinobva nzizi dzakasiyana nenzvimbo dzakasiyana siyana. Mukusangana kwemvura idzodzo muri kukonzera kuti panoita reaction iripo yemachemicals inoaffecta idzo hove dzedu idzi zvekuti dzimwe dzinotosvika pakuita blind, kusaona, zvekuti dzotambudzika kusvika pakufa. Mamwe maronda ivaya dzotopera idzi toti zvinoshambira izvezvezvi zvotodyika, abesu anodyika ona dzichitambudzika pakufa. Vanhu chaivo chavakuva dambudziko iroro rakare mukuraura imomo, vachiraura vakatsika mvura iyoyi. Mwaka iwewe unotambudzika hove pane kuti makumbo avo anodyika, maoko anodyika futi sekubata kwanoita mvura vachibata hove vachidii, zvinovakonzera kuti vakuvare. Saka zvida kuti anoti tingaitwa chii kuti tigadzisirwe kuti hove dzedu dzirambe dzichiwanda.
The pollution and the issues at hand have contributed to a heated, unstoppable debate.
We lost 2 years worth of revenue by having the minister at the stroke of a pen cancelling off all receivables. The debt write-off of July 2013 was a disaster for this city. It will remain so for the foreseeable future. It will take us easily 6-7 years to recover from that loss, assuming people are paying. Which brings us to another conversation. The people are also not paying. We are now sitting on over $700 million worth of receivables. Our debtors book has climbed up to $700 million. The same resident who's asking for water, who's asking for good roads, who's asking for garbage to be carted and collected and disposed of, is not paying for the service that they're expecting. We are having a billing efficiency of just over 50%. What that tells us is that 1 in every 2 ratepayers is not paying. We are committed to meeting our promises out of our budget. What that means is that the residents are prepared to only pay for half of the things that we want to do for them. All the complaints against or about municipal services must be accompanied by a solid statement that Mr. X, I'm a competent and compliant ratepayer. I need services. We don't have that discussion. Easily 80% of the people who complain about services in council, whether it's about water, whether it's about garbage collection, are themselves non-compliant. If we shut out the people who have not paid their rates in discussions around council performance, we'll have less complaints.
And we are running at a loss. We cannot continue producing water at such tariffs.
The proposed increase in the water price that is contained in the 2018 budget statement from 25 cents per cubic meter to 70 cents per cubic meter for conventional or the post-paid meters, and $20 per cubic meter for the prepaid water meters is tantamount to self-help.
Stakeholders have presented different complementary solutions, which, if combined, really can save the city, but only in synergy.
Tichitarisa machenesero aita mvura kuma sewage ponds, raw sewer yaiswa maponzi akasiyana siyana, ichiti kana zvinhu zvinenge zvine uremu zvoenda mumwe pondi yacho zvazosara yamvura iya yaizodurirwa kuma matoro anenge akakura tine kukurubro nekumaubra. Saka naizvozvo paano adurira yamvura iya matoro muyama ndo painotanga kudzika paye ichichenesa izvo zvambotaura zviya, nekuti zvinobatsira kanzuri yedu panyaya yemishonga yekuchenesa mvura. Matoro kanga achisiwa akadaro ndo basa raanenge achiita iroro rekuchenesa mvura. Naizvozvo hatizodi mari yakawanda yekutenga mishonga kubva kunze kwenyika.
Marlborough sewer ponds, which is sited on a wetland, although under rehabilitation, have greatly helped in reducing water purification costs. A research by Professor Magadza has shown that wetlands at Marlborough sewer ponds reduce total phosphate in Gwebi River. His Worship, the Mayor of Harare, Councillor Bernard Manyenyeni, proposed a wide range of interventions to the problem.
What we now need to do is up the discussion around new water sources. The water sources that have been talked about for 2-3 decades must now be brought to the fore. It should no longer be a matter of talking. It should be a matter of funding the development of new water sources. The Kunji Dam story. We've been hearing that piping water from the Zambezi might be an option which may be cheaper than Kunji. We need to explore all those. It does not even have to be one. It does not even have to be Harare alone. If you look at piping from the Zambezi, it will cover all the towns all the way from the Zambezi, so that there is, the cost is spread and the usage is spread around the local authorities and the farming and other operations that will take place between the water source and Harare. Each section can be purifying at its own destination. But that's another option that's been talked about, over and above the traditional discussions around Kunji, Muda and Sami dams. So going forward, the story of Harare's water can only be completed once we have told future generations, this is what we're doing now regarding your new water supply sources. Internally as Harare, we are working on pipe replacement, because if we are losing a third of our water through physical losses, that's a cost that we cannot afford to carry. When we have treated water and we're losing it through burst pipes in and around the city, 20-30 kilometers away from source, we need to deal with the retail side of the water of our water pipes. So pipe replacement is on the cards. It will reduce our losses by at least a third. We need to manage our other losses, accounting losses, where the water is treated and the money doesn't find its way into our coffers. That loss must also be managed, because that's another 1/3. So we're looking at 2/3, easily 2/3 of our water money not coming to us by way of actual physical loss of the water or loss of the money that should be part of the water equation. That is not happening. Our revenue assurance must improve. There's a lot of resistance around the prepaid water solution, prepaid meter solution. The resistance has been noticed. We take it on board, but the fact is that the water that we supply to people in our cities is not free. The water carries a cost. We need to manage the cost of getting the water into your taps, into your homes. We need to find the cost of managing that whole process as we try and make sure that everybody gets water. We are aware that is a human need. We are aware that everybody needs water. But it is not up to us to deliver it at no cost. The cost must be recovered. Central government doesn't play a part in our needs. We get zero from central government. Practically, we get nothing from central government. In other municipalities, some go as high as 70% of their provisions are coming from central government. We've got none of that. We have to fend for ourselves. So, which is why we want our consumers to come on board and participate in the financing of the water that they also badly need. So the cost has to be recovered is a very minimum.
Timothy Chitambore, the National Coordinator for Community Water Alliance, a civic organization doing advocacy work on water environment and climate issues, believes that addressing the root cause rather than dwelling on effects of the problem is the way to go.
In this case, the root cause is the bad raw water quality. Therefore, we need to deal with the raw sewage discharge from the Corobro treatment and also from the fair sewage treatment. We also need, most importantly, to deal with ZFC, the fertilizer company, and Seedco, the maize seed company. That has got programs that encourage or allow urban cultivation on wetlands.
We also need a space to operate in terms of the governance of the city. Unlike a lot of cities in the world, the expectation is that the city is autonomous and runs its own affairs. That doesn't apply to Harare. That doesn't apply to local authorities in this country. We are very much under the control of the center. Central government manages everything that has to do with procurement. It's unnecessary bureaucracy. It makes it very difficult for us to procure timelessly. So we do need the autonomy that's prescribed in our constitution in order to deliver to the people of Harare the municipal solutions, including water, with minimum delay. So that to me is important. Councils must be allowed to operate as councils. We're a lower tier of government, but we are a mini government. Let us have all the features and tenets of a mini government as prescribed in our constitution. I'm not asking for a favor. I'm asking for something that's prescribed in a constitution that belongs to all of us. That was not prescribed or drawn by the city of Harare. It is meant to cover the whole country. So autonomy is part of the solutions that we need for municipal services, that we need particularly for the water solution. So those are some of the thoughts around Harare's water.
We also advocate for a national fiscal commitment beyond the 1.2 national budget allocation that we have been seeing. We need to respect section 301, subsection 3 of the Constitution, if I may read, which says allocation 301, allocation of revenues between provincial and local tiers of government. Subsection 3, not less than 5% of the national revenues raised in any financial year must be allocated to local authorities in their share in that year.
And I hope our residents, I hope our consumers share with us the story. They must understand our problems when we have to cut water, we have to reduce water, where we have to undertake maintenance. Those processes are necessary. They are labor pains. So when we do have those challenges, I urge all our residents to come on board and share the problem with us. On our part, we should make it, we should cause minimum disruption to water supply. It's not out of our desire to have you without water for hours or for days while we attend to any of our problems. So we call upon the consumers to be fully appreciative of the need, the occasional need to down the plant, to close the pipes while we find solutions in and around Harare's water provision.